Hi, everyone, this is Dawn, aka Professor D. I am sitting here with two of our team members from one of the winning projects from this year's, the first ever actually, Indigitous Hack 2022 NYC at Alliance University. So here we have Ethan and we have JP, who worked really hard to help bring the project together. Their project won Most Complete Project, which was pretty awesome. There are some other categories, including most complete project that makes use of an API and open source. And so we're going to take some time just to talk with them, get to know them, hear about the experience and their background, and then we'll have a little demo, and then we'll also talk about how you guys can get in touch with them if you have questions or want to contribute to the project. So enough of my babbling. Let me give it the floor to Ethan and JP, and just tell us a little bit about yourselves, and then we'll dive into sort of how you guys met and how you guys end up working and how the project came to fruition. So JP, do you want to start? Like, just tell us a little bit about yourself.
Yeah, so I'm a pastor here in New Jersey. I have a background with IT, and I've been attending and participating in Indigitous, especially in the Philippines. But this was my first hackathon in New York City because I know it is also the first meeting of hackathon in New York City. So it was a really a great experience. So yeah, that's just a few for my introduction.
Great, awesome. And I gotta say, like that baby face, if you were my pastor, that would be awesome. I thought my pastor looked young, but yeah, that's amazing. How many times do people pass you by and they have no idea you're the pastor? And they're like,
Yeah.
he's getting up. Okay, great. Cool. Awesome. And Ethan, how about you?
Yeah, how about me? Um, my name's Ethan. I'm here in Brooklyn, Stratosphere Studios. So I'm not a frequent flyer in the hack space. Um, I've been to a few because of you, Dawn, and so again, because of you, I was coming out to see this one, and I appreciate things tech, but you've heard me refer to as a surface dweller. I'm not the one that really gets in and code. So, but I got ideas, and I'll listen and then I'll think of things and I'll try to help. So this was an interesting event to participate in, and I'm glad I was inspired to absolutely participate. So, and
Awesome.
thankful for meeting everybody that was there.
Yeah. So it's funny because you say you're a surface dweller, but like I happen to know that you've been interested in tech for a long time. So you're always being a little low key humble. And I don't think you would have come to the event if you didn't have some interest in, some skill set. But it's interesting to me how many people at this particular event were not programmers or had no experience with hackathons. And I mean, we were pretty pleased with that because the idea was to bill it for just friendly to those who are new to coding or just new to hackathons altogether. And I think that brought out a lot of different people. So tell me, how did the two of you end up like working together? Like, what was the collab like? How did you guys come together? And I know there are other members on your team, so I'll let you mention those guys as well. But how did the two of you come together? And how did EcclesiaSeed come together? You'll have to correct me a couple of times. I do read my Bible. I should know how to pronounce it. Wow, I got pressure with the pastor here too. Sorry, Pastor John.
It's all right. Yeah, so I think it was first there's this a real band, just like not very natural for us to have really a great conversation with one another, especially with Ethan. Then when I heard Ethan talking about the ideas of the challenges and the needs of specifically the local neighborhood when it comes to skills and bridging this kind of opportunities both for the church and for people, I tend to talk to him and tried talking to him, and he got a lot of ideas, and that sparked my interest in digging more and trying to make it more uh, creative and what do you call this one, like relevant to
Mhm.
just the former generation, but even to the younger generation. So it's that kind of understanding that I had this uh I mean this motivation to to really reach out and ask Ethan if I can be part of the team. So the ideas, the foundational ideas, came from Ethan, but during our conversation, there were also collaborative ideas coming from our different team members.
Yeah, and it's funny too because I wrote up a review, just a summary of how things went, and I shared it with the city leaders, or the city champions for different cities that are happening with the global hack. And I said, I mentioned this I think the other day to you, Ethan, but I didn't want to interrupt because that's the first time I've ever seen Ethan like hoodie on and he's all crunched over and just really into it, was looking 100% legit. I want to come and say, hey, how are you doing? But you were so serious and into it, especially the next day, that I didn't want to bother you, but it's pretty awesome. And once you guys actually got up and did your presentations, then I can see, why you were so focused and looking like you were trying to hack into the Pentagon. So not really, guys, not really hacking into Pentagon. You gotta be careful what you say. But that was pretty cool.
Unless that's possible with no code.
Someday, right? So tell me before we dive into just a little bit more about the project, who else helped you guys, or who else was part of the team, and how did they end up joining and getting involved?
We had a longtime a friend of mine, Tawan, who he himself is a tinkerer to the nth degree.
Yeah.
I've known him since he was a teenager, actually. And then we had Charmaine. She's out of Jersey as well.
Mm.
And she put in as much time as she could. I think her schedule was a little limited, but she was working on some of the marketing concepts. And then we had Gabriella Arias de la Rosa. Right?
Wow, that's impressive.
She's got a full name, so you got to say the whole name. It's a name, you got to say the whole thing, or it doesn't make any sense. So,
gotcha.
So I had practice. Anyway, yeah, and so she herself was, really, she'd come in on the in the later morning, in the early morning of the 19th, the 10th hour, and she just jumped in and she saw what we were doing, and she was eyeballing things and getting familiar with using the Figma. So really, JP had laid down such a beautiful foundation overnight, that we were just looking at it and trying to just tighten it up. But when JP, hey, remember this piece of paper?
Yeah. You still have it, huh?
I said, oh, this is gonna get
That's where it all started, huh?
This is where it all started, man. JP came over and says like, hey man, you let's can I work on it? I'm like, yeah, sure, why not? And he sits back in the chair, he goes like this. So let's just brainstorm.
Yeah, that's how you know when you got someone who's like serious business experience. I mean, when JP, when you mentioned how many hacks, well, first of all, you came in with the hack shirt. So I automatically, I was like, oh, this is gonna be good. Like somebody who's actually been the hack. And I was watching you in the space and you were just kind of just chilling, just observe, super approachable, which I loved. And it's just the kind of energy that I'm always praying, especially when you have someone who's like been to hack versus people who haven't, because I don't know about you guys, but I remember my first hackathon, I was super nervous. It wasn't TechCrunch, but that was probably the most intimidating hackathon I ever done, TechCrunch Disrupt. But it was just, you wondering like, who's here? Is there going to be a project I'm interested in? Are people going to want to work with me? You just ask all these crazy questions, and I think that's one of the things that makes Indigitous hack so awesome, because it is a lot of us are believers. Actually, all of us are believers, and like I said before, even if you're not so nice, we're supposed to be. So it takes a little bit of the intimidation out, but still, you're getting together, you're trying to work with strangers, you got a time constraint, maybe you're working to win a prize or things of that nature. So it was really awesome just to see, JP come in and just be like a cheerleader, and I have to say this, like everyone that I have encountered so far, especially on the global Discord server for the hack, I mean, the Philippines completely represents. I keep telling people like we got to step up our game because I mean it's serious business. So 6 hacks, 7 hacks, this hack. I'm like, wow, I'm bragging over like 2 and global. So this is my 4th one really. But yeah, you guys are just great. So thanks for bringing the energy. Something I want to ask you all, I know that as a team, most of you came in without any programming skills. And I think you just mentioned, Ethan, that you guys use Figma. So can you talk a little bit about, why Figma and how it worked as a low code solution help you guys build and be able to have something ready for the presentation the next day?
Yeah. I think Ethan will be sharing how he came up with the challenge and the idea. But before that, I somehow got a, what do you call this one? Had this interest of trying to connect both the presentation, the workshops. Workshops are really helpful. So the Sana and the Figma, I was trying to integrate that, but it seems like impossible to do it in a like 4-hour thing. I was also watching like a lot of tutorials on how to do the Figma throughout the hacking period. So it's just hard for me to apply both of it. That's why I'm really impressed that the other team were able to still use helpful. I was planning to do to also use helpful, but I was so impressed with their skills as well. It just turned out that I saw, I think it was Hope, right? It was Han that she's like I don't know, maybe she's like a senior UX
Yes.
designer, and then I just said okay.
Yeah. right.
And so the other team. And even we started with a single paper and they were using Post-it. They were
Right.
Yes.
and I know.
That whole team was, they had the whiteboard with the 17 different post-its on it. I'm like, yo, who are these people over here?
Yeah, that's Jaywalk you're talking about, right?
Yeah,
The
it's a
team
jaywalk.
Jaywalk, yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
Well, it's funny you guys mentioned this because Brunel, who's on that team, Hope is on that team, and who else was on that team?
Aaliyah,
thank you. And sorry, Aaliyah, girl, I love you. But I say that because they were talking for quite a while. And there's actually a couple of other people on the team who didn't stay. One person happened to be a software, or she was training for software engineering. She just finished a full stack, not full stack, Flatiron school. So the interesting thing is when I was circulating around the rooms, they were talking and brainstorming for quite a while. They were just trying to figure out what they were going to do. And at one point, they called me over and asked me if I could kind of coach them through it, or Brunel did. And that still led to more talking. And then, they're working. But then when like every time I passed JP at some crazy hour in the morning, he was perfectly wide awake. I was like, what's going on here? He's chatting it up. He's like, yeah, I'm working. And I mean, it's just nuts, right? And so when they came back in, I'm not sure if they actually had their project kickstarted Friday night or if they got started Saturday. So, in some cases, it's like amazing to see how much they got done in such a short period of time, spending so much time trying to figure out what they're going to do. But then, that's the advantage of having experience and having different skill sets on the team. But I think with that said, that's also what made your project so impressive. Knowing that wasn't necessarily the skill set, although JP, I know you got, more experience, and just working with a larger group too, right? You guys had 5, I think they had 3. So it goes to show that, with a little bit of coordination and people kind of just being willing to work and to see the vision, you can definitely get these things done. And, interestingly enough, both teams won, and it did not have to be that way. It definitely could have gone, 2 prizes to 1 team. And when I spoke with the judges, I don't want to give too much away at the walkthrough, but, all the judges were impressed, as Joe Sumter said, that both of you guys were able to get something up on screen. And it is true, like at hackathons, that doesn't always happen. So the fact that you guys really started from scratch and then had something working, that's pretty impressive. And I'll just say this too, just in case we're short in time. JP, you weren't there for the presentation, but the rest of the team, Ethan can attest to this. The vice president of special projects for the university, for Alliance University, she was like, this is great. We can use this. And she was serious. And one of the comments she said, she made was that she was really excited that there are projects coming out of the hackathon that could turn into ventures. So, you know, the heart that I have is that some of these things will continue on and we can sort of move them into the space where they, you know, can actually make it to the marketplace. But with that said, I'll let you guys do a demo and a walkthrough, and then tell me about, you know, what kind of features once you're done that you'd like to incorporate going forward. But let's go with the demo.
Yeah. So I think Ethan can share a little bit first about for the purpose of our prototype here.
The purpose of the prototype, or just
I mean our the app itself.
yeah, okay. Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, so EcclesiaSeed, you know, again, the challenge that was being considered was the ability to build or to assemble a church in a place where there isn't any. So that's what I was thinking about when I read one of the challenges. I might have interpreted it very differently, but that's what came to me. And so if you're someplace and you need to put a project or a church together, you need to find the people that can do that. So creating a source by which a church can put up a listing and or individuals can actually show make themselves available to the church community was the nexus of point that we were trying to accomplish here. So creating a place where this can happen. So EcclesiaSeed, you know, just in the name, ecclesia being preachers of the church and planting seed, planting churches is part of, you know, church nomenclature, or church phrases, biblical phrases, you know, just kind of really popped out at me. And so that's what this app is about. So it's about bringing those parties together where churches can make themselves present and they can make their personnel needs present, and personnel can also make themselves present and explain what their credentials are. And to that end, we crafted this what do you call it? It's not
A
a
mobile
beta. You call it
application.
a mobile application
Yeah.
that would accomplish both sides of that coin. JP was saying, hey, let's take advantage of this concept in a modern way, in a matchmaking kind of a way, where people are familiar with, some people are familiar with how these matchmaking sites work. And so we were using some of the, you know, left and right activations for matchmaking, you know, a church that needs person X who has, you know, XYZ talent can find that one, this person who finds this church, oh, they're looking for this kind of talent. Oh, and then they can match up with each other and then start a communication between themselves.
Yeah. So when it comes to process improvement, so I'm kind of integrating a lot of business management ideas here as well. So the process movement is trying to make the entire process faster and more efficient. So instead of people just compiling and like gathering data and putting it into one database, and one person would be keeping it and other people would be going there and asking for certain details when it comes to applications and databases, we thought maybe we can reduce about storing, like having another third person. Why not let's make it happen where people who would like to apply would go directly to people who are looking for specific jobs. And instead of you asking a lot of questions, which also will take time, why not everything will be there? Every preferences that you need will be there. So I was thinking maybe we could really integrate the design of some matchmaking online datings, and we kind of, and they kind of agree with that one, because it's not just a lot more fun and creative, but it's more efficient as I can see it. So once you already matched as a employer and employee trying to applicant and employer, then your conversation starts, and that would be something much more easier than going through a lot of processes. So let me go to the demonstration. So first, of course, you creating an account. So once you created an account, we have three kind of verifications for your identity. First is your number, And we all know number, your mobile number is a verified detail. But of course, you need to verify that one. It will send you an OTP and you need to send that one again. So once you already verified your number, you go and you will be asked if you're signing us up a church or a person. So if you're signing as a church, then you'll be asked later on about the church details that you have and what you are looking for. But if you are a person, like an individual person, you'll be asked about your profile information and what kind of jobs or ministries you are looking for. So that would be easier for us to split the databases as well. So if you let's put an example like a person. So you're applying as a person, you need to upload your picture. So that's another verification. So we can verify that you are a real person. We can also look at it. And once you apply the one, you uploaded the one, you'll be putting your full name and email address, which is another verification. Then city, state, and birth date. So we included birth date because if you have forgotten your password, we can ask what is your birth date, and that will verify you that you are the one who owns your own account. So after the personal information, we don't ask a lot of personal information. So just the necessary ones. Then you'll be asked for 3 skills or job opportunities that you are looking for. So the top one is your priority. Like I'm looking for a senior pastoralship, or I'm a musician, so maybe I can also look for a musician, like a guitarist or singer. The third one, maybe a Christian education director, directress. So those kind of 3 things. Then you need to put your qualifications. So with this one, it's not just job opportunities when it comes to ministerial leadership, but also what Ethan was saying. He was thinking about, we want to build a church, but we don't have enough manpower or like supply of people who would do this. So we would like to build a building, but we need a plumber, we need builders, we need carpenters. So we are also looking for this one. So there's like licenses for electricians, other masonry, and other builders as well, construction workers. So anyone can use it as long as it is relevant to church. Then you'll be asked for how far are you willing to go, the distance. So like 5 miles, 10 miles, salaried. Then your other information, like I am willing to relocate to another city. So our original design, our original thought is, we're just thinking about the Metro New York or the tri-state, Connecticut, New Jersey, and New York. So we're limiting our conceptual when it comes to these tri-states that we have. So once you have it, it's a success. Now, you try to log in, and you logged in as a person. Of course, since you're logging as a person, it means that you're looking for a church, right? So because you already set up your preferences, then once you click as you're logging as a person, you'll now see what's what you were looking for. Like, okay, you inputted there, you want to be a pianist. Okay, the church here is looking for a pianist. So you can check it. And once you checked it, the other user who's logged in to Times Square Church would see this as an application. Then they'll also see your profile if for them you are qualified or not. If they checked it and if they swiped right, then they'll say, okay, we can go and further this discussion. We can now converse. If not, then you'll also be told that, okay, your application is not accepted. So that will lessen your kind of anxiety and false hope with all these application jobs. Like people would tell you, okay, I'll call you. Okay, I'll call you in a week, but no one's calling you. Man, that's really giving you a lot of anxiety. So it's not just one. So there will be like a lot of things here, but we just inputted like 3 or 4 churches. So once you matched up, you have the conversations. So you, the church, then all the details will go, like all the benefits, how much the salary, what are you expecting, and how far are you willing to relocate, all those kind of things. So again, if you're lagging as a church, you're looking for people you would like to look for. So by the way, these pictures here were friends of Gabriela. Okay, so friends and cousins, right? Ethan, friends and cousins. So
Yeah, yeah.
except for Francis Chan. Okay, except for Francis Chan, of course. So
And also
Reverend,
Pastor Carter. You guys called him John Carter. He's actually Carter Conlon. But yeah, that's cool. That was my pastor for 11 years. So that's pretty cool.
So as a church, you'll be asked for, as you create an account, church name, email address, your website. So the profile user, like those who are trying to apply, can actually see the profile of the church. Then you'll be asked, you want to be like a volunteer, a temporary, a permanent position? Are you looking for that one? Paid date? Those kind of things. Then, of course, if you click success, submit, then success, and you start logging in. Anything did I miss, Ethan, or you would like to add on it?
no, I mean that's what we were able to put in as of the weekend. Um, you know, some other ideas are in the works. Thinking about, I remember how you were talking about um, when you were looking for a, a a church home to visit, to go. And a lot of people do that. They go, oh, if I get into a town, I'm looking for a church to go to visit. So we will make some provisions for just ability to be in a region and ask, well, what churches are local? Maybe identify them if you have a non-denominational choice, or if you do have a denominational choice, and the churches can be there and they can be present just as a resource for people to find their houses of worship of their particular, style, and some other things. What we're looking at here is really just 24 hours of thought, if that much. So yeah, this has a lot of has room, has real room
Yeah.
for expansion.
Yeah. I mean, we
Adding
have
into
about.
that, okay.
Go on, sorry.
So adding into that, people would ask, okay, so people would just use this once. So I think they will not just use this once, because we're also conceptualizing. We're talking about it, about the trust factor system. So it means like if people are getting hired to this account, they'll also have like the rating kind of system. So like if the one who hired you really likes you, then they'll rate you 5 stars. So it's like the Uber thing, right? So if they rate you 5 stars, they'll see that you are in a good condition, you are loyal to your company. And the same thing for the churches. If the churches are really good, they're giving you good benefits or not. So this will actually help our communities to factor everything out, and let's just give all the best for both our applicants and both our churches who are needing when it comes to ministerial opportunities. Why? Because this is God's ministry, and we would like to just give everything the best when it comes to God's ministry. So I think that's all. I don't know if Ethan would like to add more. Or
No, not at the moment. I think that covers it.
I want to say thank you to both of you. We have about 3 minutes left, and that's not because of me. I'd keep this conversation going. That's just how Zoom is. So let me ask you both one thing real quick, 30 seconds or less. If each of you were to talk about one feature you'd like to continue on, let's hear that. And then also let us know how people can find you, follow you, possibly contribute to the project. And then do you have plans to move this into becoming a full-scale project like MVP and then eventually a full-fledged business? So let's see if we can get that done in the 3 minutes we have left.
yeah, I think I'm really willing to make a venture out of this one. We're just thinking about the tri-state cities, but what if it will be like a globalized, local and indigenous apps? So people would be going, like especially for missionaries. We can also include missionaries. I would like to be a missionary in a certain part of the world, Myanmar, Thailand. so they can also see it here. So those kind of features. So instead of because the problem is like people going to agencies, and not everyone can be catered to agencies. Why not? You can just go through this application, which is credible, verified, trust factor system, and also have like a direct access to it. Of course, with securities, safety nets, and proper what do you call the one, like trying to check background checking as well. So we are going to venture more of that one, if of course people would also be willing to support us. So jprsign@gmail.com, and I think Ethan also has his address. Ethan.
Yeah, everything JP said, plus definitely, because it was thought of in terms of, like you said, in terms of what it could do for missionaries, people in areas that are remote, but as a global application, this tool would be invaluable, right? If it's well adopted. And so, but I really, and I think there's even more usage for it again, I said, when people come to visit. I know, like for my church, we get visitors every Sunday morning, and I'm always curious as to how people find the church. And so I think there's a wider application, or wider access opportunity for travelers who when they travel want to visit churches for whatever the reason they're looking to, and so there's just, I think, more than what we just initially thought that was available to us in what we were thinking of initially. So yeah, definitely looking forward to advancing this right on down the pipe until it's out and in everybody's phone.
Perfect. Okay, guys, we have less than a minute. So thank you so much for joining. We will make sure we get your contact information out, and we look forward to seeing more of what you guys do with EcclesiaSeed. Take care, guys.
EcclesiaSeed@gmail.com.
Thank you. Take care, guys.
Ethan, bye,
All right.
Don.
Bye-bye.
Take care, JP. Bye, Dawn.